Hi, Chess Masters, Coach Sipho here, and today I'm going to share with you the importance of being suspicious whenever the opponent gives you free material. I'm going to do that by sharing two different mindsets: the mindset of super strong chess players and the mindset of just good players. So I'm going to demonstrate my point using three different positions, and it will be my bullet games, as you already know. And then at the end, I'm going to give you a task just to see if you are able to apply the knowledge you just learned. So without any more delays, let's dive into it. This is the first position, and it was a bullet game. So I played, as you can see, that my bishop has a clear diagonal and it is facing on the opponent's king side. So it is easy for my knight to join the attack, but I did not want to play the knight first and block my queen. Therefore, I started with my queen h5, so that I can be able maybe to play queen g4 and support my bishop. And of course, my knight can also come later on and reinforce the attack. So after playing queen h4, my opponent played bishop g3. Now, at first glance, it seems like I'm winning a free pawn there because that pawn is undefended. So before we deal with this position, let's go to the two mindsets so that you can clearly understand the point I'm trying to share with you. The mindset of super strong. Okay, let's start with the mindset of players who are just good. Players who are just good, after making a move, they hope that their opponent will make a bad move, or the opponent won't be able to see their threat. They even go to an extent where they even cross their fingers under the table and hope that my opponent won't see it, and then I will win the game. Okay, that's the mindset of just good chess players. On the other hand, we have super strong chess players. Super strong chess players make moves and they assume that the opponent will reply with the best move. Okay, remember, players who are just good, they hope that the opponent won't see their threat. And if the opponent appears to be dropping material, they don't even think twice. They capture that free piece or free pawn. Okay, but with super strong players, they assume that whatever they are trying to do, the opponent will see it. They know that the opponent, or at least they assume that the opponent won't make a blunder. In situations where it seems like the opponent is losing a piece or a pawn, they become very suspicious. They don't just take that pawn. They're like, no, my opponent is giving me a free piece. My opponent should be up to something. So they become very suspicious. For example, looking at this position, my opponent played bishop g3. And after playing bishop g3, the pawn on d4 is hanging. It is undefended. So players who are just good won't even think twice, would just capture that pawn and they would smile after that. But super strong players won't take it right away. They will think, should I take that pawn? Why is my opponent giving me a free pawn? And they would notice that no, that pawn is poisoned. You cannot afford to take that pawn, because after taking that pawn, there would be a discovered attack. The opponent would play queen h7. And then after that, you would lose your queen. That is why super strong players are so suspicious. Whenever they see that material is free, they don't take it right away. And then players who are just good, they take first and think after. And then after that, they will usually say, no, I was winning. It was just one mistake. My opponent is lucky because I was winning there. Okay? So those are the two mindsets of players who are super strong and players who are just good. Okay, let's go to our second position. In this position, it was also another bullet game and I was playing black. As you can see here, I'm pawn up and my opponent has a weak pawn structure, very bad pawn structure, because this pawn is isolated on an open file. So my opponent tried to complicate things by taking that pawn. Even though it was a bullet game, I cannot just take this rook. Why? I need to be suspicious. Why is my opponent giving me a free rook? And then I quickly noticed in few seconds that I cannot take here, because if I take, my opponent will play bishop c4 and my queen is pinned. You see, it was a completely winning position, but with just one move, I could have lost the game. But thanks to the good mindset that we have, whenever the opponent gives us free material, we become very, very suspicious that my opponent should be up to something. Okay, so now I did not take the rook since I noticed that my opponent will follow up with bishop c4. Instead, I just took a free knight because I have a knight and a queen. I just took a free knight. My opponent, it was bullet after all. So my opponent was just trying to complicate things. And after this, my opponent realized that he or she is a pawn down. And then they resigned. Okay? By the way, if you are still enjoying this session and if you understand what I'm talking about, please smash that subscribe button, the notification bell, so that you will be notified whenever we upload a video. Now let's go to our last example before I give you a task. Okay, here I was playing white and material is equal. White has 6 pawns, black has, oh, in fact, black is material up, black is a pawn up. No, material is equal. I missed this pawn. So material is equal. Both sides have 7 pawns and both sides have 4 minor pieces and 3 heavy pieces. So in this position, I played knight to d6. At first glance, it appears that I'm going to lose a pawn because my opponent is attacking this piece 2 times and it is defended once. And since it was bullet, my opponent took, which was a very big mistake. My opponent was not suspicious, which is a very big mistake. So my opponent took the knight, but I don't blame my opponent since my knight was very dangerous. It is forking the 2 rooks. So my opponent took the knight and it was a big blunder. After taking the pawn is attacking the queen, and unfortunately for my opponent, he or she cannot take it since I'm threatening a checkmate. As soon as my opponent realized this, they did not even take the pawn, they just resigned. So I hope you get today's point. Whenever you see a piece that seems to be hanging, don't take it right away, but you need to pause. Okay, relax, and then you need to consider your opponent's forcing moves. You don't look at all opponents' possible moves, okay? You only look at the 3 forcing moves. There are 3 types of forcing moves: check, capture, and threats. So when you see a free piece, before you take it, you ask yourself first, will my opponent be able to check me on the next move? Will my opponent be able to capture one of my pieces, or will my opponent threaten anything? So that is why before taking that, my opponent was supposed to ask, will my opponent be able to threaten something? Okay, that is the lesson for today. Now let's go to the task. As you all know that I'm a big fan of making sure that you are active learners, because you can sit there. If you are not active, you won't benefit as much from any lesson. So whenever you learn something, you should participate, try to be active. That's how you improve. If you just listen, that's passive learning and your improvement will be very, very slow. So how can you be active? You can be active by, okay, I'm going to ask you a question, and then you are going to look at this position and give the answer on the comment section. So now let's dive into this. This is a typical French defense variation. It is the French advance. White plays pawn e5, and now we have a closed center. And we already know that when the center is closed, the plan is to attack on the flanks. So black played c5, attacking the base of the pawn chain, trying to destroy this pawn chain. White solidified his or her pawn chain, putting more pressure, putting more defense. It is all about that d4 pawn. Queen b6. As you can see that everything is balanced at the moment. Black has 3 pieces attacking this d4 pawn. White also has 3 defenders defending this d4 pawn. So everything is balanced. However, now white plays bishop d3. This move appears to be dropping a pawn at first glance, since now white has only 2 pieces defending the pawn. The bishop is blocking the queen's view. So black has 3 pieces attacking, and after white played bishop d3, now white has only 2 pieces defending since the queen is blocked. So as a black player, in fact, let me flip the board so that you can be able to look at it properly. So if you were playing black, let's say you take, white takes. Now you have 2 pieces attacking that pawn. White has 1. Should you take that pawn right away or not? Let us know on the comment section. Let me give you a hint. It is not a good idea to take that pawn. It is a poisoned pawn. But let us know on the comment section, why is it wrong to capture that pawn? So thank you for watching this week's lesson, and this channel is committed to uploading at least 1 video per week. Help our channel grow by smashing that subscribe button and notification bell, and click the thumbs up so that the video could be shared to more and more people. Until next week, peace.